Chapter 13. Shh. 2 weeks before they were off for the semester, 1 week before exams began, Earl, Gina, and Bryn sat in the library studying quietly. After an hour or so, Lindy, Bryn's classmate from fine arts class, passed by to walk with her to another section of the library, where they would meet to work with a few others on a group project for that class. So, Gina, we're alone. I've been meaning to ask you something. Does it bother you how close Bryn and I have become over the semester? Some random person at the table next to them whispered loudly, "Could y'all please lower your voices?" Acknowledging him with a positive head nod and whispering softly, Gina confided, "Earl, you don't look at her the same way you look at me. Y'all act like relatives or something. You look at me with softer eyes. Don't think I'm too forward by saying this, but I feel like you look at me with bedroom eyes." Hey, I don't act like that toward you, Gina. I've been respectful of you. I'd like to think of it as looking at you like a lady, not a relative, Earl interrupted with purpose. Please lower your voices. The guy at the next table became more serious this time. Gina chuckled at what Earl said because she was tickled by the way he seemed offended, and she also thought it funny that the guy next to them was so irritated. She questioned in her mind whether that guy was upset for losing his concentration or if he was jealous that he was having to study alone while they were studying and cuddling all at once. "I didn't mean that in a disrespectful way, Earl. I'm confident in how you feel about me. And I know it's not because you're trying to get nasty with me. Anyway, back to Bryn. Earl, she's not interested in you like that. I know my friend. She doesn't want that type of relationship. Y'all have an innocent connection." "Shh," said the guy at the next table, more harshly this time, tickling Gina even more. It was like she was in church now and couldn't stop laughing. Trying desperately to whisper, "Truthfully, Earl, it's good having you around her because being exposed to you might change how she feels about men. She thinks all men are bad. You're healthy for her to be around." "Girl, you are amazing. The best friend to Bryn, the best girlfriend to me. You're the best. I love you." "Did you just tell me you love me, Earl?" I guess I did, huh? Yes, I love you, Gina. I love you too, Earl." "Oh, brother, can y'all please take this conversation elsewhere?" The guy at the next table said, totally frustrated that he couldn't focus on his studying, or was getting more jealous because these two kids were expressing their love for each other. They looked at each other, laughed, and decided to leave the library to get a good night's sleep. Upon returning to his room, Shari was there, but no sock hung from the doorknob. Instead, she sat on Brian's bed, crying her eyes out. Earl grabbed his bedclothes, toiletries, and shower shoes and headed straight to the restroom for a shower, trying not to look and pretending not to have seen her crying. For the first 3 minutes, he fought with the faucet knobs in the shower, trying to force them into a regulated temperature against their will. When the temperature of the water decided to cooperate, he ducked and dodged around, trying to figure out how to get cleaned from a just right temperature trickle of water. He hadn't heard much of the conversation in the bedroom while he was in the shower, but at the sink, he could hear clearly. Putting toothpaste on his brush, he heard the word marry. Then he heard, "One of us should sit out." His interest was piqued. He brushed his teeth and went into the bedroom, wishing he could make himself invisible, imagining himself shrinking from their view. Acting like he hadn't heard anything. "Can I sleep in my own bed tonight, please?" Earl asked sarcastically. Sure, I'm leaving. Shari got up quickly. Brian followed her, assuming that Earl had heard everything. You're not walking across campus by yourself carrying my baby. I'm walking you to your room. And Earl, you better keep your trap shut. Don't tell anyone what you just heard or saw or anything, not even Bryn. Brian shouted angrily at Earl, an innocent bystander. Earl shrugged his shoulders and mumbled under his breath, I ain't saying nothing. I'm just happy to get to sleep in my own bed, by myself with no feet at the back of my head. He grabbed his sock from his foot and placed it on the doorknob behind them, in hopes that Brian would stay out of the room for the rest of the night. Earl pulled the cover high, all the way to his neck, because it was frigid. It was a frigid December night, and Earl had on a pair of shorts, no shirt, and only one sock. He rested his head into his pillow, melting the remainder of his body onto the mattress, one muscle at a time, slowly, methodically, and intentionally. The room was completely quiet and dark, except for the crack of the bathroom door where he realized the light had been left on in the bathroom. Earl did not care. He was so relaxed and his body felt so good. He wasn't moving for anything. Earl's mind is not one that turns off easily, even though he was relaxed. He thought about the desperation and anxiety on Shari's face, the fear in her eyes, and how fragile her body looked. His thoughts persisted to imagining how someone so little could actually carry a baby inside and then push that infant out. He pondered whether he had misjudged Brian. Brian displayed a ton of empathy on his face and in his body language toward Shari. Earl felt a gnawing sense of guilt, having wished the couple away and out of the room the way he did. He figured he had it all wrong, and perhaps this duo was in it for the long haul. Maybe they weren't just a couple of rabbits in heat. Maybe they were legitimately in love. Wait, love? Earl threw the entire blanket off of himself and onto the floor. He jumped out of the bed and began pacing back and forth around the undersized room. I may have told Gina I love her tonight, Earl said out loud to himself. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. He crouched, sat his body down, slumped his head forward as he balanced on the edge of his bed, one sock on, one sock off, elbows resting on his knees with each cheek supported by each corresponding fist. He remained almost catatonic for a moment until he started talking to himself aloud again. Dude, chillax. She said it back. So it's totally copacetic, man. Tomorrow I can tell Bryn what happened and she'll give me good feedback, Earl thought audibly. Then he gathered himself and lay back down for a restful night's sleep.